when I was in graduate school, one of my professors said, always hire people smarter than you are and set the vision and then let them go and just check in. And that's been my mantra an administrator is always hire the best people smarter than me who can figure out problems in different ways than I can.
So, for those who may not know you, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, so I am an educator here in the state of California. I've been in California since 2003. Prior to that, I was in Texas where I served as a teacher and as a vice principal and as a director of professional learning in the leadership section at Region 11 in Fort Worth. And before that, I was also in Austin. That's where I started my career. Went to University of Texas, took 'em horns, and and I was also a teacher with the Department of Defense in Germany. So I was there during the drawdown of the American troops and the reunification of Germany. So I'm originally born in Germany, though, and that's how I ended up back there. My father was a GI stationed in Germany. He's originally from Ohio, and my mother was a German national, and they met there in Bremerhaven. So, so I grew up. I said I grew up in Dallas. I went to UT and met my current husband. Like to tell me he's current because he's still on probation. So we moved to California in 2003, and he's actually a California native. And we came out here for his work, and became a principal in Southern California, and then went into the central office as the director of STEM in a very large elementary school district in the LA area. And after I finished my doctorate, I said, okay, what now? It's time to go, try to be an assistant superintendent. And I interviewed in several places, and I came down to two school districts. And I was coming back from my interview from the second school district. I was rear-ended on the Interstate 10 freeway. And I said, that's a sign. I'm not going there. So, but it was the right place for me to go was that first school district because it was a large, um, it was a large unified school district in the Palm Springs area, and my work was really around systems transformation. And so launched that work, was really kind of had a good foothold. And then my husband's job brought us up to Northern California. And I said, okay, I got to go to Northern California. I've always wanted to live in the Bay Area. And so I was fortunate to land with a superintendent who was a great visionary. He and I were very similar in the way we approached improving instruction. And I gained in that 7 years that I was there, I gained so much experience. And when he retired, it was time for me to start looking for superintendency. And um, as it goes, you interview a lot, and so I really had the preparation and the interview down pat. And I had a search firm that identified me as a transformation superintendent and helped me to land a position in a school district that really needed my skills to do the transformation work from building the community's goodwill for this district to the educational transformation work to the systems work. And I had an amazing team. Like I walked in and here's your team. And I'm like, I couldn't be more happy. It was amazing. And so this was San Bruno Park, which was getting ready to go into state receivership. And we managed to do the transformation work, pass the first bond in 30 years to a facilities bond. I walked every street of that district during the campaigning. And I had an amazing team that worked alongside me and to help that in. And the San Mateo County Office of Education was extremely supportive. Anything I needed, I had the elected officials there in the area who were very supportive of making sure that we did right by kids and right by the community.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then that happened. And then an opportunity came up for me to go to a large unified school district in the Bay Area. And so I was hesitant to do it, but I took the leap. The signs were all there that I needed to go. And I took the leap and I landed in Santa Clara Unified, not to be confused with Santa Clara County, but it is in Santa Clara County. We were a basic aid school district, which is kind of a different funding model than most school districts in California. So we had a lot of assets, and the school board wanted a transformation leader, and they wanted to be world class. So they said, "Why aren't we world class? We have Apple. Apple was in our school district. Nvidia was also housed in our school district. We had a lot of tech companies, Cisco, Google, you name it. They were there, and so I was charged with coming up with a strategic plan and a vision for how we were going to transform teaching and learning. All the same time, we were building the largest educational campus west of the Mississippi, three schools on an 80-acre property that were going to feed into each other. And so that was really an opportunity to transform education from kindergarten, early childhood, all the way through their senior year.
Absolutely. That actually
Yeah.
brings me to a question about mentorship, because if you're seeing more and more younger people coming into this, and you yourself were in this position as well, did you have a mentor, or are
Oh,
you looking
yes.
back and mentoring others right now as well?
I'm doing both. First of all, let me just say that I didn't get where I was without great mentors.
Mhm.
So they were amazing. And I'm sorry, during the difficult times of a leader, your mentor is your lifeline.
Mhm.
Your spouse, sometimes, unless they're in the same field, they don't understand what you're going through. And your mentor has walked that path. Maybe not exactly like, not the exact same thing has happened, but they can say to you, yeah, that's really crappy what happened to you.
Mhm.
And you're gonna get through this. And it's gonna be okay. And they're gonna help you strategize with communication and planning. And sometimes you get a couple of your mentors together and you all talk like,
Right.
okay, here's the situation. Those scenarios that we get in graduate school or in leadership training, those scenarios are usually like you read them and you're like, that never happened. It's like, oh yes, it did. You can't make this step up.
You
Oh
got
yes,
it.
it did.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that having your mentors help you see things that you're blind to. It's like your nose blind to, Stella, did you realize you do this? I'm like, oh no, I had no idea. So they kind of like they help you see things that you don't see about yourself. I think it's important that you have mentors from different backgrounds because they will tell you things that you don't know about yourself, and you have to have that kind of honest relationship with them.
Mm,
I
mhm.
mean, for example, I had one mentor who 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 was just she was the superintendent in a large school district. They just had high schools, and, she was just this petite little lady, but man, she was fire. And she really, she would say, like, Stella, that I can't believe that happened to you. That's terrible, but we're going to get through this. And, then another one, he would always tell me, oh, that's really bad. It's doomsday. And I'm like, it's not so bad. He goes, oh, it's really bad. And I'm like, it's not so bad. He's like, it was really bad. So they set you up, like they make sure you're not taking light of a situation that could have a domino effect on, whatever you're trying to accomplish. I think the mentors now, for me, as now that I have to wear the other shoe and I mentor people,
Uh-huh.
I'm stepping out. Like I was a workaholic as a superintendent. My life was the school district. My life was doing what was best for the community. And the pandemic kind of really reset for me. I mean, I like had to learn to step back and take a break. And then stepping back into a CBO role after that, kind of made me realize I had no idea that I was under so much stress, that my life was not in balance. And so what I always tell my people that I'm working with, and one is a brand new superintendent, Central Valley is you need to take care of yourself first. Put your oxygen mask on first because if you don't, no one else will do it for you. And they don't, and there's
Absolutely.
another person waiting for your job right there. So, take care of
Yeah.
yourself first. And that is one of the things for me also has been the reason why I have left both superintendencies that I was in
Mhm.
because it really was about taking care of Stella. It's like I had done all I could. I given all the energy I could and there was just nothing else I could give.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I
yeah.
almost find that to be a cultural thing. When I was working in a different culture, when I was working in academia in Sweden, it was very different. Work-life balance was highly prioritized, which
Yes.
I did not see that in when I came back to the States and was working in American institutions.
I would agree with you 100%. I think that we have with the phone, the
Uh-huh.
24/7 phone,
Mhm.
and the expectation that you're available 24/7
Mm.
is undoable. It's undoable. And I would go on vacation for 2 weeks and I would come back and I wasn't refreshed. I needed another 2 weeks.
Yes.
And so that to me is something that has to shift. And I think it would be good for our children too if the parents or their guardians were disconnected and with them after work hours because it's created a lot of challenges. Our children are dealing with mental health issues,
Mhm.
and it
Mm.
could be from. I'm just projecting this. I don't know this to be true, but I think that when parents just spend quality time with their children, whatever it might be, whether it's just even watching TV together,
Mhm.
but they're paying attention to each other and they're having conversations, that tends that leads to such a rich relationship. That is what
Absolutely.
many people are craving are those rich relationships.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
definitely. So you've held a lot of leadership roles across the districts. When you look back, do you have a moment that stands out as something very meaningful to you personally?
Oh, well, I think there have been many. I think,
Mhm.
when you think about, so I really believe in public education. And I
Yeah.
think that, you know, there are some of my colleagues, like, they'll work in public education, but send their kids to a private school. I never did that.
Mhm.
You know, my kids went to public school and they went to public university and both of them are doing very, very well.
What is a fun or surprising fact about you that people don't usually expect from a superintendent or an educational leader?
I have actually 2 facts. So I'm going to start with the most fun
Mhm.
and exciting fact, and that is that I am in the crew of Cleopatra. Do
Eh,
you know what that is? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers who may not know what that is. This
So, New Orleans has, let me start off by saying my niece went to her undergrad in Tulane, and my sister asked me to join her in the crew of Cleopatra a few years ago. And because my niece was in Australia in her resident or her medical school.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm not going to go do that. Who wants to do that? What is it? I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So New Orleans has Mardi Gras, and about, I don't know, 14 days before Fat Tuesday, they start all the parades. And there are each crew has its own parade, and crew is KREWE for our listeners who don't know anything about Nolans. Uh, it's a crew, not SCREW. That's KREWE. The crew of Cleopatra was established in 1974, I think it was. It's an all women's crew, and they do fundraising around New Orleans.
Mhm.
And their parade is held on the first Friday of a carnival,
Uh-huh.
so leading up to Fat Tuesday, and all the women dress as Cleopatra. So we
Ah,
have these black wigs,
yeah.
and there are 28 floats. Each float is a spin on a theme. So, for example, last a couple of years ago, it was Friday night is ladies' night, and each of the crews was a different cocktail. So
Uh-huh.
I was on the tequila. Our crew was we were together all the time. Was a tequila sunrise. So we are, and so each crew has a special throw that they give when they're going down St. Charles or Magazine Street. And so we do, the crew Cleopatra does glittered acrylic drink glasses, like wine glasses, or I did tequila sunrise, but like hurricane glass.
Yeah.
And basically what happens is in August, I start glittering in my
Uh-huh.
backyard and there's glitter everywhere. And I glitter these cups and you make 2 dozen of them. And that along with the other throws, you go and you throw on that Friday. And so it's a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie.
Mhm.
And I do it with my sister and my niece, and we have a great time.
That sounds amazing. I do have to ask you, how much glitter does Gracie Lou then bring back into the house?
Oh, she brings a lot of glitter in the house, and, yes.
Yeah.
One time I made the mistake of yes, glitter outside and then spray paint them, and then you have to bedazzle them. So then you put all the embellishments on, and, my husband's an engineer, so he was trying to show me how you can put expanding foam in there so it helps to hold the pieces, and then you
So
get the
my
I was
husband is also an engineer.
okay. Yeah, so, it's like
Those
he's showing me.
personalities work well together, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so he helps me with he's got all the good tools. He's got the extra
Yeah.
hot glue gun, he's got the
Uh-huh.
expanding foam, he's got whenever I need something, he's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun and, it's cool, thing to do. You wouldn't be able to pick me out in a crowd. In fact, I had a staff member who came to New Orleans on the night that Cleo was riding, and I told him, I said, "If you want something from me, you have to have a sign. I'm gonna tell you what float number I'm on. I'm gonna tell you where I'm standing, but I won't be able to hear you because of the music.
Yeah.
You have to have a
Uh-huh.
sign." So he sends me a video. I don't ever see him. He sends me a video and he's like yelling my name and I didn't even hear him at all. I'm like
Like,
looking down.
it's not
I was like, "Where's the sign?"
right? Yeah. My
Yes.
instructions were clear.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but I saved him. He and his wife came together, and I gave him some stuff the next day. And then
Fun.
usually we do the dog parade on the Sunday in the French Quarter. That's a lot of fun. One
Yeah.
year the dogs were dressed up, or the handlers were dressed up as Barbie and Ken, and some of the dogs were eating pink. So it was
Oh,
cute. Yeah. So
that sounds
yeah.
like so much fun.
Yeah, New Orleans has a special place in my heart. I love to go. I love to go down there, and then the day after the Cleopatra parade, we usually go down and watch some of the other parades over by Superior Seafood down there in the
Oh,
Garden District,
yeah.
and that I think is like watching the families with their kids between the parades and all the. Oh, I was so surprised by the number of marching bands, like the
Uh-huh.
schools with their marching bands was the music scene there for youth in New Orleans is crazy. It's really phenomenal. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do one more year and that's it.
I may have to come down this year.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Yeah.
My sister wants
Whole
us to
side note.
move over to the Crew of Tux. We're
Oh,
thinking about going to the Crew of Tux, which is a week later, and I don't know. We'll see, but maybe
yeah.
maybe one more year. Yeah. Yes.
Neat. Very cool. Well, you'll have to let me know because I will hold up a
Okay.
sign.
I'll do that. Okay.
Okay. What a pleasure talking with Dr. Stella Kemp from School Leaders. I love these behind the scenes conversations because they show us the real people doing this vital work, their journeys, their insights, and what motivates them every day. If you enjoyed this conversation, there are more great interviews like this one waiting for you in our series.